Hello! Welcome to my channel, Edible Thoughts Makes. My name is Stephanie, and this channel is where I share with you my works in progress, finished projects, things I'm cooking up, books I'm reading, funny things my kids may say. My hope is that as you watch this episode and the previous episodes that you find some inspiration along the way. This episode is going to be a little bit different from some of my other sit-down episodes. Basically, I wanted to share with you a little bit about how I organize my knitting or making notebook. I am a pencil paper person and I just remember things better that way. I think through things better that way. And so I just prefer having stuff on paper. Also, I really like having the option of making without needing something that has to be plugged in, battery operated, notifications, distractions, things like that. I find it less distracting that way, and if I am making around my children, I feel like it's less distracting for them as well when there isn't some device that I have to be looking at constantly or that dings or anyway, things like that. What I like to do is I like to use a dot notebook. I will show you here. The pages have light dots on them that can be made into grids. I can jot out a colorwork chart. I can write in straight lines. Yeah, I just find the dot paper very versatile for me. I like to have a spiral bound. I find the spiral bound makes it easy for pages to lay flat. I don't find the spiral getting caught on things. It just is an easy way for me to bring a notebook around. Also, I find this size, which I'm not sure exactly what size this is, but this size is easy to fit in a project bag for me. Maybe a smaller sock project bag, it doesn't fit as well, but definitely more like a medium or shawl size. And with a sock project bag, I think it might stick out the top, but it still fits really well. I like to choose the ones with a clear cover. It's a protective layer in case of spills. You can wipe it up real quick. Also, it allows me to create a cover page on the front so that I can see what is in the notebook. I do not separate them out by year. It just really depends on when I finish up the notebook and start a new one. I start with the idea of having a table of contents in the beginning. That being said, I do not usually keep up with my table of contents, but if you'd like to see what it looks like, I will share that with you. So on the top, it'll say table of contents. It'll have a page column for page number. Then I'll have a project section where I can write out what the project is. And on the side, it'll say started and a column for that date, frogged and that date, and a finished date on that side. Now, my purpose for the table of contents is for easy reference, but I just ended up not keeping up with the table of contents, and yeah, I just didn't do that. So I'm going to try to find a page here that isn't like a paid for pattern or things like that so that I can show you how I set that page up. Here's a page that I recently started. So on the top, I will write the name of my pattern, or if I'm not following a pattern, just what I'm calling or referencing that particular project. On the top right corner, I have a start and a finish. And then I will write in what needles I am using, what yarn I am using, the fiber content, and the weight of the yarn. And then I'll just start my notes below. So if it's a pair of socks and I'm knitting them cuff down, I might put a section for cuff, write in how many I cast on, maybe my cast on method. I usually don't change my cast on method, so it doesn't really matter if I write that part down or not. I'll write down how many rounds of ribbing if I'm doing ribbing, and this also ensures that I make a pair of socks the same. Then I will go through a leg section, a heel section, and oftentimes I like to keep track of how much yarn I use in each section as well. I feel like that helps me plan for future projects if I am making something that is similar, like I really like that fit, or maybe I am making it for a gift and I would like to make that person socks in the future. This way I have all my measurements and numbers down already. Speaking of measurements, something I forgot to mention is in the beginning of my notebook, what I'll do is for the people that I make a lot for, like my family members, I will have their name, and then I will jot down the measurements that I need in there. So maybe it's shoe size, foot circumference, foot length, head circumference, chest circumference, things like that that I need to know in order to figure out what size of something to make them. On this blank page here, I wrote out kind of like a template that maybe you can screenshot and save it if it is something that is beneficial to you. So here's a blank page. I show a start, finish, and then also a due date in case there is a deadline. Maybe it is a test knit, or maybe it is a gift knit for someone's birthday. I'll have a due date there. And along the top will be, again, the project name, or what you're calling your project. And then I'll put in size that I am making, needles that I am using, and gauge of the project, which sometimes you don't know until you're finished, depending on whether or not you do a gauge swatch. The yarn, and then I just listed here, you'll write out the name, fiber content, and the weight of yarn. And then I always track my grams of yarn, and if you have a project with multiple colors, you might have a main color, which is MC, contrast color, which is CC, you might have CC 1, 2, 3, depending on how many colors you might be using. And then I'll write out my starting weights of each one, finished weights, and then how much I used. That is for the entire project, so if I'm keeping track of amounts throughout the project, I'll write that in the bottom notes section. One thing that I find useful is if I'm knitting a sweater and I need to keep track of maybe how much yarn I'm going to have available through the body and for the sleeves, I might even write down how many grams of yarn I used for, let's say, 10 rounds in the body. And then if I want to be more specific, I can figure that out per like number of stitches to figure out if I have enough for the sleeves, or how I might need to modify the pattern as needed. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that sometimes I will have a little clip of the yarn also taped in on that page. That way, if I'm referencing stuff later, I can see what yarns I used. Let's see if this one, I think this one I can show you. So I have a little bit of the yarn taped in there. I don't always do that because I feel like it makes the pages really bumpy, especially since I write on the front and the backs of the pages, but it doesn't bother me too much. I think that is it. I hope that was useful. Happy making!